Happy Sunday. Happy Hurricane Hillary Sunday. Not as bad as we were led to believe it was going to be, but still a little bit more rain and water damage than I was ready for. So I was dealing with that all day, both at the house and at the Sci Fi Center. So I guess we got one more night of this or one more morning of this. I guess it's not supposed to rain too much tomorrow afternoon and evening. I think it looks like the weather forecast looks like this is going to be over with by Monday night, Tuesday morning, which is great. And from what it looks like, the temperature here in Vegas does not breach 100 again for I didn't see for the next 10 days, which is always good. Which means we're starting to head into September, starting to head into my birthday month, starting to head into cooler temperatures. My favorite time of the year, autumn, fall, depending on where you are at, where you like to call it. And I actually think I'm going to have a special stream, a special celebration stream on this year's daylight savings. Because if you recall, when you guys watched the stream where they stole the hour from us, I was not too happy. So it's only fair that when we get it back, I am extremely excited. How you doing, Vince? And once again, StreamYard is doing its delay thing. It hasn't even notified me yet that I'm on the air live, even though I am the one hosting the stream. Oh, just now got it. All right, so basically, what tonight is going to be is, like I said, this is just a wind down conversation. We covered just about everything and then some in good time last night. I think last night's stream was a good stream. In case there are those of you who did not get a chance to see it, I'm going to go ahead and post it in the live chat so that. And also, thank you to Vince. I have separate topic streams that I'll be uploading because we cut the show up so that if you don't have time to watch the entire show, you can go ahead and watch some of the relevant topics depending on what hits you at that moment. Thank you, Ryan. I always get weird because it's like, oh, I'm getting older, but then I look at the alternative and so many people that just don't make it into their 30s and 40s or 50s. And I'm like, you know what? I think I like this option a little bit better. Plus, my birthday, like I said, falls in my favorite time of the year. I wish I could live in a place that is just fall, or autumn all year round. That is my favorite time of the year. It gets darker earlier, and when you live in a place where the sun is a flamethrower, the less you see of it, the better. You can do a lot more stuff outside. It's not too cold. It's not too hot. It's just right. You know, it just lets you know you're in that part of the year. And it's kind of like a season long celebration of you survived the inferno that is, May, June, July, August, and some of September. You still get up in the hundreds in September, but it's fleeting. It's not much. So yeah. So right now, I'm like I said, I'm leaning back almost into laying down position because I'm at the house. Eventually, like I said before, I will eventually get this place to where I want. I will have all my backgrounds and stuff set up here. So different cameras. I just keep moving things around, and plus, I've had other issues I've been dealing with business wise that have just taken too much of my time. How you doing, Fourth? What's going on? Yeah, I used to be much more tolerant of the heat. I think that deployment changed me. Once I went over to the Arabian Peninsula and I felt that heat, I'm like, wow, why? How do these people live in this? You know, I mean, you're talking about heat upwards to 125, 130, 100, depending on where you are in the Middle East. It could, even though the record temperatures aren't documented that high, if you're in a city or if you're on places like on a tarmac or somebody else, that's all out the window. You're dealing with upwards 130 something degrees. And so when I came back here, the heat wasn't as bad, but it's still just like, ugh. How you doing, Jacob? Yeah, so this is pretty much a mellow stream. So I know last night we were talking we were talking about Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle, I guess, ended up making about 25 million. I think that at the end of its run, I think it'll be on PVOD in about 2 to 3 weeks. I think by the end of its run, it's going to make its money back and a little bit more. I don't think it'll be a loss because it appears to be a movie that you can sit a family down on the couch with. But with so many movies out there, so much going on, and what DC has done to their brand, I think they could hope for one thing, but they realistically had to believe in another one. So, but like I keep saying, don't. I keep hearing people think that as soon as Superman Legacy comes out, everything is going to be okay. That is miracle thinking. I just don't see it. Not quality notwithstanding, we're not that discussion on whether it'll be a quality movie will happen when we actually see the movie. I think it will. I think he has the stones to do it. It's just that a good movie packaged in bad circumstances, it could hurt. And like I said, some of these circumstances he created. He and Peter Safran decided to announce a reboot while they still had 4 movies left. And everybody was thinking, oh, it's not going to hurt. People are going to go see these movies because they're great movies. And no, they're not. Pulled the rug from under them. And then while they're flipping up in the air about to land on their face, you want them to pull money out of their wallet for movies that, in their opinion, aren't going to mean anything. So, and this will carry over to Superman Legacy because you just don't instantaneously trust the brand after all this. It's going to take some time. So, but enough about Blue Beetle. Yeah, but at least you didn't have a hurricane, Vince. I can't believe I'm talking hurricane sitting in Vegas. Yeah, the humidity because it's still summertime, so the humidity for us ain't that great either. But like I said, the water and the flooding and everything else. Because I've been here since '93, and I just know that the city is not built for water. We had to build detention bases as a result of flooding, which you're not prepared. All right, Jacob McKenzie Williams, Donald Oppenheimer has earned $770 million at the worldwide box office. It is now the 4th highest grossing film of 2023, passing Fast X, which was a fucking horrible movie, and Across the Spider-Verse, which is the best movie of the year so far until I see Dune. Like I said, this is a $500 million movie at best before the whole Barbie thing happened. I think a good $200 million they owe to Barbie. Which is fine. I mean, I loved Oppenheimer. It's my slightly second favorite Nolan movie. Admittedly, not a big Nolan fan, but Dunkirk for me is his best movie by a few inches. But yeah, I'm glad to see Oppenheimer making money because, like I said, this was the one movie where everything he's tried, in my opinion, and not been that effective with me, all came together in this movie. So I think it's deserved 717. Okay, how you doing, RJ? I'm going to try and see Blue Beetle as soon as I can. Everyone in the house is sick, so it's been a weekend for taking care of people, running errands. Yeah, and like I said, I mean, that's if you want to see it on the big screen. I have a feeling in a few weeks it's going to come to you. All right, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cost $120 million. The movie hits digital platforms September 5th. I'm no surprise here. Like I said, I will put my foil hat on, and everybody can make fun of me. I think it was always going to be on demand and on September 5th, no matter what it made. And it's just that these are the perfect type of movies that a head of a household or whoever's heading the household finances, this is the perfect value for you to drop 25 or 30 on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If you got 2 or 3 kids, that's a night out. The kids are, you know what? We all like going to the movie theaters, but little kids, when we're like, 4 or 5 and 6, well, if you got a nice big screen at your house and they're watching Turtles, I think they're not gonna be like, Dad, you cheap ass, why'd you take us to the movies? You got the popcorn there for them, you got the soda there for them, you got the chocolate there, you got everything for them that they get, and you're all together sitting there. This is a perfect kind of movie. This and Blue Beetle are the perfect type of movies that if I was running the show, I would make sure that they got the PVOD ASAP. You can have your little, you can have the theater money, but like I said, it's a great value for a family to spend $30 on a movie like this as opposed to what they would spend. And like I said, the greedy fat cats, and this is just me being a conspiracy, I am almost certain that they get the lion's share of the movie once it leaves the box office. Now, am I saying that's the way they should always go? No, not necessarily. But at the same time, we're dealing with a strike because these guys are trying to eliminate every middleman they can. So not surprised if not surprised that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is one of the fast track ones. Just put DC on Max and do 10 episode season starting with Batman. That's a good idea. That's not a bad idea. I don't. Not doomed. Not completely doomed. But I think that it's going to take a while for there to be any traction. Like I've always said, if you want to kill something or hinder its growth, just announce the word reboot. And DC, a company that has basically trademarked reboot failure, and 37 years of doing so many of them on so many platforms, you think that somebody might whisper in their ear and say, hey, by the way, you're DC. You're the people that screwed this up decades ago and are the reasons why people keep doing it. You're the reasons why reboot don't work. You may not want to try one. But I think there's a trust factor. I think what's going to happen is Superman Legacy and your first wave of James Gunn's movies are going to come out. I don't think they're going to do well. I'm not, telling you they're going to be bad movies or quality or anything like that. I think they're going to be decent quality, if not better. But I think a lot of people are just going to sit on the sidelines and they're going to wait till you get a certain way in it because of the way they conducted themselves with the entire situation prior. And it's not just going to be us geeks. It's going to be the general fan that's going to be standoffish because like I said, without ever getting on YouTube or Twitter, the general fan knows when they've been left held in a bag with something unfinished. And that's a trust issue. So I think they're going to watch these things. I think they're going to get eyeballs on these things. I just don't think a lot of people are going to show up to the theaters for this. I think what you're seeing right now with DC Films is going to carry over to a large degree with the other stuff. But I think they'll watch it on Max. I think they'll watch it on PVOD. And when you come around to the later movies, the second round, the Superman Legacy 2s, or the second half of the slate that gets released in maybe 2027 or 2028, that's where you will have earned the trust because now they see you began something and now you're going to the next step. The problem with DC is they began something and they never finish it. And everybody and their mother knows it. To a certain degree, everybody knows that they haven't seen Superman in 5 years. Everybody knows that they haven't seen a proper Batman story in 5 years. They know that they're getting characters that they've never heard of, and that kind of turns them off. So you got that to deal with. But like I said, I think in maybe the second chapter after Gods and Monsters or in the latter stages of Gods and Monsters, that's where they're going to start getting the traction and start making the money. But that first wave, no. What we're going through right now at DC isn't something you just instantly get out of. You just don't snap your fingers and gain the trust that they've lost. And when you have the replacement to the people who began that trend kind of tripping on their dicks, making the mistakes that they've made. So they'll find their way, but it's not going to be anytime soon. Yeah, Midwest is humidity. Humidity is a pain too. Humidity is very dangerous. Ryan, I have high hopes for Superman Legacy and DCU, but it's okay to feel that way. I have high hopes for the quality of Legacy and the quality of DCU. I just don't have high hopes that it will be accepted given the damage that's been done. Like I said, making a good movie is not enough. I think we've proven that. We've had enough good movies fall to the bottom of the ocean here to make the argument that it takes more than just making a good movie. And I've always said 25% of the equation is that. The rest of it is the situation that the company that's putting the movie out is in, and momentum, and a lot of other things. But making a good movie doesn't always guarantee you. In fact, it's like I said, it's 25% of your success. Because there's been some awful movies that were in better situations and that were marketed better and whose companies were in better situations, and those movies made money. But some of the movies were awful. I don't know. I haven't heard any news from Lake Mead. I guess with these last 3 or 4 days, it should be rising to the level where we're going to stop finding, filled barrels, filled with bodies and stuff. Hopefully. How you doing, Belcher? What's going on? Yeah, Dune 2 is my most anticipated movie of the year. I mean, Oppenheimer right now was up there, and as far as it was my most anticipated Christopher Nolan movie because, like I said, I just haven't been impressed with all the other stuff, but Oppenheimer was on my list, and Oppenheimer met met all my expectations, and Dune 2 has got lofty expectations, but I love Dune 1. I love this director. I'm ready for Dune 2, and I really, 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 really hope. I haven't gotten any official words from our handlers as far as it being delayed. Far as the official word is that it is still slated to come out when it is designed to come out. But with the strike, and if they get into the situation where they don't want to put out any more movies without promotion, then it could be delayed, even if it's done and ready to go. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. What's your thoughts on Blue Beetle opens 42 million? It's 43.4 million on the budget was 404 million. That's for me the way I think of money making revenue. That's fine. They that is it's less than half the budget, but the more you make, and I don't know if it's going to have legs yet, because we don't know what the next week is. I don't know what the drop off is going to be. But the more you make of that budget when you know you're going to streaming, I mean, as soon as you can cough, that's cool because that's less money that the studio has to make back, and the money that they make on the back end, like I said, is probably going to be the majority theirs because this 43 million, they're giving money to the theaters, they're giving money, and a lot of this money that they made these movies on was borrowed money. Most movies are not made. They don't, Warner Brothers Discovery just doesn't open up a safe and pull out some gold bullion and say, here, we'll pay for the movie. Most of these movies are backed by investors and other companies, that whose job it is to invest and get a return. So they get paid too. So they get paid their money back, plus they get interest. So that top dollar, that first dollar, all that go, that gets taken off the front end. But once you start moving it to other revenue streams, then they start getting a majority of it. So 43 million, when you figure the budget is 104 million, to get where they need to be as far as breaking even and actually making a little bit, that's actually, I would have to say, if you're thinking about it in my terms, that's I'll take that. Now, if you're thinking about it in the old ways, and everything has to be a certain amount of box office, everything has to be made in the box office, then yeah, it's a bomb because you if you take a 50% drop, you're talking about it's gonna pull in what 21 million next week. That only puts you at 65 million. Now, for my thinking, 65 million, whatever you keep from that is one step closer to you breaking even and getting that dollar percentage that you get. But everybody else is going to be like, oh, okay, if it wraps up, so say if they take it off the market after next week, it's probably going to make less than 104 million. So as a box office standard, yeah, it's a bomb, even though they didn't spend any money. But on the road to getting all the income, we just don't know where it could end up. I think a lot of people are going to watch this on PVOD. I think a lot of people are going to buy this on physical media. Dude, can you imagine what the physical media is going to look like? That nice blue, that glossy blue Beetle, packaging. Those kind of Blu-rays sell, so I think they'll be okay. WB can't keep taking movies made from Max off the platform to theaters because the quality looks good. The Max, I see. Now this is what I agree with, and the same thing with Netflix. Your model, if you're creating something for your streaming service, is to get people to subscribe to your streaming service. That's why I'm always against, even though I would love to see Rebel Moon in the theaters, I would understand if it's not, because the whole reason you are Netflix and that why you are putting this on your streaming service and investing that is because you want people to make that consistent investment in your streaming service. If you give them other ways to go see this, then maybe they might not keep their subscription. I don't know. Maybe I'm being paranoid, but yeah, I would. I'm not on the Zaslav train as far as creating content for streamers. I think you should. I think that is that streaming income, the consistency of it gives you a lot to work with if you can keep the quality up. So I am on the I think the genie's out of the bottle. Let's try to make money off it. Happy Sunday to you, Hal. The Blue Beetle should have went to VOD then Max. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Because like I said, both of those tiers, they get the benefit. They get the maximum benefit off of the dollar that way. Saw Blue Beetle today and it was way better than Shazam and Black Adam. Had some nods to DCEU. Okay. I heard a lot of people say it was right at Shazam. Black Adam was a different kind of fun though. I was 6 in 1990 when the first Turtle movies came out. Loved it. Didn't see it in theater until I was 35, but loved it regardless. The theater experiences and home experiences always be different. It will be. And for me personally, I want the theater experience. There's no way in hell I'm going to see Dune on my TV screen. Even at my movie screen that we have in our screening room at the center. No. Whatever I have on my best day is not going to equal what they can give me in IMAX and its surround sound and Dolby and Sony, all that. D-Box if you're going to that route. Nothing I possess, nothing that most of us, any of us possess, will rival seeing movies like that on the big screen. However, that is a personal preference. When we're talking about family movies, the prestige on a theater that adults, like me have, and the value of a cinematic experience is not necessarily the same for your 7 or your 8-year-old. And if you're crunching the dollar and just trying to provide them a good time without going broke, that option is good because they're going to see those turtles on the screen, on your nice big screen. They're going to get that popcorn. Everybody's having a good time. You're in your environment. And you'll still go to the movies with them, but there are going to be certain times where you're like, damn, I can't afford to take a family of 4. The average price is $125. And that's if you just have, the wife and 2 kids and, if you're the one paying. So, yeah, I 100% agree. The theater experience is, for me, the preference. But tell you what, if I ever have kids and I ever have a wife and the dollar, is kind of stretched, I might, and the kids want to see a movie that I want to see on the big screen. I may have to make a sacrifice as a father to be like, you know what, I want to see Dune, but the kids want to see it. This is a family experience. I mean, I'm not saying they would want to see Dune, probably too complex, but if it's a movie that I want to see, when I get some more money, second round out, next payday, then I'll go see it on my own. But I'm still going to want to see it with my family, and I'm not going to want to pay that much, especially if it's multiple viewings. Because once you start buying the stuff on your demand, you can watch this, how you want to. So, William Thom and Transformers: Rise of the Beast will end its worldwide box office with less than $450 million at the box office, becoming the lowest grossing live action movie. That has nothing to do with the quality of the movie, though. The previous movies, aside from Bumblebee, were just an erosion of the franchise. So $450 million, I think, is fine. It's not great, obviously, but I think they have big plans in store for that franchise. And I think they'll be fine. The first wave of Gunn doesn't do well. It will be canned. That's also a possibility. That would be short-sighted because that's what they did. They did that with Zack Snyder's films, and those were doing well. But they panicked because they were listening to marks and pundits everywhere. And here's the thing. You hired him. The time to second-guess your creatives is when you're sitting there interviewing them. Once you put pen to paper and you push, you start pushing that ball down the hill, that's it. You can't constantly second guess because that goes back to the trust issue. And that's a lot of people are going to be like, that's exactly right. Is James Gunn even going to be around? I know he's got a 10-year plan, but I've always said he's got a 4-year contract. So his 10-year plan is with a team option after 4 years. If that much, because by the time all this stuff comes out, they're going to have renegotiated his contract. So, yeah. Talk to me is $45 million, 10 times the film's budget. The horror movies can do that to you. I have not seen this one yet, though. This might be a stubborn question, but what do you envision the This might be a stubborn question, but what do you vision a great James Gunn film? Oh, well, I think Suicide Squad was great. That's the movie that told me that he could handle a DC IP. Yeah, granted, it was with throwaway characters, but in the same vein, he made me care about elements of that movie that should have been thrown away, but they weren't. He made me care about Flag's character. He made me care about Peacemaker's character. Not as much as he would later on in the series after episode 3.5, but with the whole Rick Flag situation, him killing Rick Flag and him having to deal with that guilt. I thought he did a better interpretation of Harley Quinn than her previous movie. I thought the Starro element should have been, had been a lot more in the movie. I thought was compelling. So I enjoyed Suicide Squad. Some of his other movies that he's been associated with, I don't think they've been bad. And plus, I go all the way back to Trauma with him. So for ones that have been made, if that's what you're asking, I'd go with the Suicide Squad. J.R. Serber, the lack of professionalism by WB when ZSGL came out and a widespread acclaim generated still amazes me, and absolutely it's directed. Well, yeah, it's a trust issue. And you just never gave a legitimate explanation of why that couldn't have been wrapped up. But you gave me all these other things. You gave me Blue Beetle, which everybody's saying is a great movie. But to be honest with you, without even seeing it, I told you guys before. Blue Beetle, Shazam, Black Adam, Birds of Prey, The Suicide Squad. These movies should not have been made without the support of the main tier characters. And I'm not saying that everything has to be Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, but everything has to begin with them. It has to go through. It's just like the comics. At one point, 60% of all DC Comics characters came from either a Superman, Batman, or a Justice League comic book. That's how important. That's how much they are the engine to what everything DC does. And it's the same thing cinematically, too. I'm not saying you can't have the Z-listers, but you got to have them mixed in with the salad that is the Trinity. If not, you're just leaving these Z-listers out on their own, expecting people to pull out money out of their pocket for characters that they've never heard of and don't care about. And like I said with Suicide Squad, everybody wants to come up with every reason under the world to watch Suicide Squad bombed at the theaters. And some of them are legit, but for the most part, Suicide Squad failed for the same reason a lot of these movies that they've released failed. Nobody knows or cares who these characters are. We geeks do. You and I do. But the average Joe wants Superman. The average Joe wants Wonder Woman. The average Joe wants Batman. And now as the manager, as the person running the show, yeah, you got to make sure that you balance that out. And so it's not always those same three characters, but you have to utilize those characters in a manner that sheds light on all these other obscure characters that you want to grow. They are the sun that gives sunlight to your seeds that for them to grow. Without that sun, you can't grow anything. And we've had the sun gone for 5 years now when it comes to Superman, Batman, Aquaman, etc. Question, William, how can you modernize the Dirty Harry movies for this era? In this era, it's tough because we have a lot of political leanings either way when it comes to cops, unfortunately. I don't know if you can modernize it. You would have to make the villain so evil that even people who have issues with cops would be like, wow, yeah, that mofo had to die. Get him, Harry. But as far as modernizing it, I think you just use the procedural framework that a lot of cop shows, are working with. You do like the first 48, but then you add your titular hero, you had your Harry, you add your Dirty Harry. To a lot of that, because a lot of people watch these cop shows. They watch these reality shows. They like to see the procedures. They watch CSI. They want to see that evidence. So instead of just having Harry go in and just blast them up, you have Harry follow the trails and then blast them up. There you go. Do you think would hurt somebody's streaming shows in terms of consistent viewership because most of the people running streaming service still go off the cable model?
Yeah, but they're learning the hard way that they cannot anymore. And you have a lot of people from different eras that are still in their jobs, and I think it's going to change as they get these younger people in there that are coming into this time of their career at while streaming is being developed, like a 70 whatever 69 or 64 65-year old Zaslav is still thinking in terms of the old model where a maybe a 40 45 48-year old brand new guy will come in thinking of the streaming model, kind of like what Keelar was doing. He was too soon. All right. I okay. So here's how I counter with that, and I understand where you're coming from, Shogun. I thought that with the strength of with Dunkirk is that they focused on the limited story and the limited beach and the limited evacuation. In terms of overall World War II movies, that focused on a lot of different things throughout the story. This was focused purely on that. I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much if you started bringing in other elements and adding too much to the story. But then again, it could. I've only seen it the one way. Yeah, theater experience matter. Yeah, yeah. For me, I love going to the theater. I love the event feel of the theater. I love doing our private screenings where I get to hang out with people and talk to them, and ask them about the movies. Like I said, I will watch movies at home, and I understand the business model of getting them to me as quick as possible at home. But like I said, when I had the opportunity to go see Dune day and date, I was right at the movie theater. All right. All right, since I'm a big music fan in general, did you ever listen to and like Black Velvet? Yeah, Black Velvet. Yeah, it came out in 1990. The Atlanta Miles. That was an Elvis Presley song. That was our only hit, but yeah, I know exactly who that is. I know exactly who that sign is. All right, it's crazy. I've seen tours of mansions on YouTube, and one of the mansion movie theaters called equipment in the movie theater, so they had the same theater experience you get in the movie theater. Okay, and how many of those guys are out there? But for the average person making, even above decent money, yeah, you'd have to actually go to a mansion or like the White House or something. Best Suicide Squad is still Assault on Arkham. There's no cuddly moments between the squad. It was all egos till the end with the characters, and then they killed the good people and it wasn't comedy. It's generally what the Suicide Squad is. The theater experience matters, but for me, differently. The big experience was more value films that about ideas, not just tempo. Yeah, but you like once again, we're not in that era right now. They're gonna go where the money is, and they use these tentpoles to generate. So a lot of the other movies that you guys may like are not gonna happen if the studios aren't generating the max amount of money. A lot of these movies that are not, the big ones are greenlit, you know, with money that's been made overall. If your studio is doing well by making these tentpoles and these franchises, that's still money for some of these other 5, 6, $7 million movies that you might want to get out there. Yeah, and most people, be honest with you, Fourth, are not going to the movies for that particular experience. They're going to the movies for a good time and for escapism. I understand where you're coming from, but most people go to the movies. They're really not going in that deep unless we tell them, like the CGI shit. Most people, like I said, if you could sit through Killmonger Black Panther's fight scene and not shit in your pants then and there, then you can sit through a lot of CGI. But these days, we kind of overanalyze it. A lot of times, people just want to have a good time. I don't think theatrical movies challenge us anymore. I don't even know if they need to. Be honest, not every movie needs to be introspective. I mean, some do, but not some of them. You know what? Sometimes I just want to see stuff blow up. Sometimes I just want to see the hot chick kill a bunch of people while she looks hot. Sometimes I just want to see the hero tear limbs off or then shoot a bunch of people. I don't need to be challenged every time. I understand what you're saying, but not every movie experience needs to be that way. Sometimes you just want to have fun, and then sometimes I want to see an Oppenheimer. So it takes both. You know what I mean? I don't know if Apple for sure wants ESPN. I know they would probably want Disney, the studio, because of the IPs, but I don't know if they want to run a sports network. Same reason why I don't think they would buy the parks. Do they want to be in the park business? So, read somewhere about a rumor involving Krasinski as Batman. I don't believe it, but it would look good at Bruce Wayne. Depends on how old he's going to make him. Because remember, this movie ain't coming out for another 3 years, and Krasinski's, 42 now? So it could put him in the right window. Probably watch Blue Beetle a second time this weekend on Dolby AMC. Yeah, watch it quick. They should have got humanity now. Yeah, but as much as I love Spielberg, he's from a different era. This era does not apply to him. He'll always be one of the greatest producer directors of all time, but he's speaking from the past. He's speaking from a business model that no longer exists in that realm. I mean, and he's speaking to sensibilities. Like I said, not everybody wants to go see a Spielberg level epic. Some people just want to see shit blow up and stuff gets torn apart. Look at the Fast and Furious movies. I think those movies are trash. But for the most part, even with some of their downturns, they make enough money to justify continuing to make them. Does that challenge you? No. But not everything needs to be a challenge. You got to pick and choose your movies, but they're all going to hit, a certain platform. They had IMAX movie screen in their home theater and the Dolby. Well, yeah, I mean, when you're a millionaire, you can do that stuff. But us poor saps, yeah, it's not going to happen. Wow, that's a lot of questions. Let's see if I missed anything. Hold on, let me turn this on. Damn it. Stupid Streamlabs. Oops. Decline. Get out of here. Let's see. Just pulling up my Streamlabs to make sure I'm not missing any new members. All right, mini fees. Test this out. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Somebody's texting me. Weather report coming in. Expecting winds. I'll be glad when this rain is over with. All right, let's get back to it. What's going on? Hold on. All right, let's see. Different era, but correctly. But yeah. I mean, I don't know if he predicted it and the reasoning why, but we are where we're at. Now movies have to rely on VOD, which is sad. Consolation money that they used to do. But that's not consolation money because, like I said, they're not getting all that money from the box office. And in the bigger movies, they're paying out millions and millions and millions, sometimes 25, 30 million, whatever, in bonuses. You think Tom Cruise is not walking away with a fat bonus? Scarlett Johansson had a $20 million bonus for her movie. You think a guy like Tom Hanks or Denzel Washington or all these guys that are part of these movies aren't taking a huge cut in their first dollar bonuses? So they're not getting all that money. When they move it to these other platforms, they get the maximum collective benefit. And be honest with you, if it wasn't for VOD to rely on getting their money back, some movies just wouldn't get made at all, and we would lose that treasure. So, yeah, and a lot of this is due to the economy and what families can afford. That's not all on the studios. The studios are recognizing it. Like if people weren't buying the stuff on VOD, then it wouldn't be a conversation. But the customer in this instance, the customer is taking the business where the customer needs it to go. The customer can't afford to the box office right now. They can afford PVOD. They can afford them a $14 streaming service, depending on how many they have. But the customer is dictating where this boat is going, not entirely the studios. If the customers weren't watching so much stuff on VOD and packing the theaters for every movie, different conversation. But that it is what it is, you know. William, since you live in Vegas and you guys had to deal with some of the hurricane, are you guys feeling residual effects? Or are you guys having a lot of sandstorms? No sandstorms, just a lot of rain. A lot of rain, a little bit of flooding, and we're about to have some wind, which I hope blows away the clouds and ends this madness for a little bit. That's about it. And with BOD, the main source of income, you won't be getting big budget films anymore. Not necessarily, because once again, we're not just talking about BOD that necessarily dictates it. You're talking about other forms of income. Like, you watch some of these channels for a while, and you'll see a movie that gets slapped up on one of these cable channels. Like I keep seeing Star Wars for some reason on TNT or TBS. I see Miss Marvel, or I see a lot of these movies that we all saw on the big screen being played on TV and on cable networks. Now, they make a lot of money in that ad revenue. They also make a lot of money on physical media on some of these things. But they also make money selling things to other franchises. So, like what Sony did, Sony had deals in place for Morbius before Morbius even hit the screen. But as far as big budgets goes, I still think you'll see big budgets. I think you'll just see, they'll be careful because, not be honest with you, not every one of these movies needs a big budget to be successful. Black Adam certainly didn't need $200 whatever million for that to be successful. Suicide Squad did not need $185 million to be successful. They should be controlling the budgets anyway, no matter whether there's PVD or not, because they're spending money on things that in many cases don't have the ability to draw. The Suicide Squad did not have the ability to draw with that budget met. Now Batman does, Superman does, if you're doing it right. Spider-Man does, but Blue Beetle, you wouldn't 104 million. That's fine, but something like that, you just don't spend any of the money because it's not going to draw you that way unless you're just trying to make as much money on the ancillary markets as possible, which is via PVOD. But it all depends on what they consider as a financial success or not. Not us. Us fans don't really know anything. Here's what I'm saying: the box office and VOD are hand in hand. Not only VOD. No, I'm not missing what you're saying. That is by design. You think that they are making a mistake, and you may not agree with what they're doing. That is by design. Who do you think decides when these things go to VOD? Who do you think sets that date before the movie's even released? The Last Voyage of Demeter is on its way to PVOD. Universal made that decision. If the theater's money meant that much to them, they would milk it dry. They're not. They're coming into these release dates on the big screen with release dates on the small screen already. It is by design. They no longer want it to go hand in hand because they know the majority of the movies aren't going to necessarily justify that. Not every movie's Top Gun. Not every movie's Barbie. Not every movie's Oppenheimer. Not every movie's Mario Brothers. You're going to have your Blue Beetles out there. You're going to have your Shazams out there. The majority of the movies that you put out are probably going to make very little profit. This is how it is. So, no, that's I see what you're saying, but it does not apply to their train of thought. They're not thinking like you. They're thinking they have an overall set goal of what they need to make from this movie, no matter what the platform is. They have a set amount of money. Not only a set amount of money, they have a percentage of money that comes back to them that they know that they want. And they know where they can get it, and they know where they can't get it. So this is by design. Most of these movies that are going to be coming out are going to have a PVOD date before the first trailer hits. That's just what greed does to you. Sorry. John Campion. You think John Campion? Oh, hold on. Did I get any followers?
Benjamin Grierson.
Uh-oh.
They're doing the Vittorio campaign
Ah!
in the American West.
Hold on for a second.
Chasing Vittorio, the Apache leader.
I was watching Buffalo Soldiers, and it came on.
Vittorio's Apache tribe
Because I'm taping it.
guerrilla warfare.
There we go. Thank you, Vincent Rhodes, for liking. I'm gonna be so happy when we get the Streamlabs going to where I can use it. Okay, John Campia was thinking about this one's in the theater. Certain movie brands that were trying to add more commercials and movie trailers. He said he's pissed that they would advertise a movie. At 7:00, but then the commercials and movie trailers. The movie was started. Yeah, you know what? It pisses me off too, because I rush to the theaters to get there on time. But once again, guess what that is, guys? That's another form of income in some situations. Some of those are actually in the theaters that I go to. They're showing full on commercials, M&M commercials. They're showing full on, advertising, not just previews. And you know what? That's because that's a revenue stream for both the theater and the studio. They split that. So there you go. VOD or ancillary market, same thing. All of that was standard on top of box office return. That was the way Matt Damon even explained it, why we don't get movies that take the risk of IPs. I don't agree with that. I think you're just not going to see a bunch of movies with high budgets, but there are going to be certain movies that are going to draw over a long time, like Barbie. Barbie's going to stay in the theaters longer. Oppenheimer's going to stay in the theaters longer. Blue Beetle's not. But when you're making certain movies, you probably have a decent idea of if you're doing it right, what's going to do that or not. But like I said, you guys can be mad at the model, but it's working for them. It's helping them justify anything getting made, because if they got to take a gamble on a movie like Blue Beetle, it's just not going to get made under any budget. It's not even worth it. The only thing that saved Blue Beetle, it was made on a streaming budget to begin with, so everything that they made on top of it. But you're not going to see movies like Birds of Prey. They're not going to take chances on that. Maybe they shouldn't, but there are going to be some good movies that are mid-budget movies that are like, you know what, we don't even think this movie justifies a $25 million budget, because they're going to have to advertise that. That's another, that's more millions. In order to make movies like that profitable without PVOD to back you up, it's not even worth it. But if I know I can make another 25 or 30 million maybe on a long-term PVOD, now I can justify making that movie. And a movie that I may want to see that may have never been made because you couldn't justify it, now gets made. So that's what I think about it. Yes, I did, and it was very filling. Oh, my goodness. I tried the oxtail. I had some greens today. I also had gumbo. They had gumbo this weekend, too. Oh, the gumbo. Oh, my goodness. It's a little, you think it's just a little cup, and it's like, I'm going to starve. And then you start eating that gumbo, and you're like, oh, my goodness. I may need help with this. By design, and why attempt a theatrical run and spend money on advertising and only ancillary market? Okay, they didn't do it in Blue Beetle. Did they spend any ad money in Blue Beetle? No. They put themselves in a position to break even or make their money back. And most of these movies, like the ones that are going to bomb and cost them a lot of money, a lot of them were made, like The Flash, made movies that were started to be made 2 and 3 years ago, where that model wasn't in place. This is a recent thing. This is a recent thing within the last 8 or 9 months, to where they see that kind of money that they can make on the back end. This wasn't always around. We just admitted that it was true. And you're not understanding what I'm saying. The studios do not give a flying fuck about the overall dollar the way you guys are thinking about it, because they don't get all of that. They get the majority of the money that's made in these other markets. There's less people sitting at the table when it comes to PVOD, when it comes to the Blu-ray market, when it comes to the merchandising, when it comes to the licensing deals, when it comes to the ad deals. All these people that are sitting at the table when the box office money starts coming in, there are less people, and it's a much smaller table, and there's a lot more food for the guy at the end. So you're thinking theatrical run, like I said, some of these people still think, $1 billion, everybody's happy. Yeah, not everybody. They want the highest percentage of their dollar as they can get. And these other formats are how they're going to do it. So yes, it is by design. That's what greed is. They don't care about your opinion on it. They don't care about John Campia's opinion on it. I understand and can appreciate you guys love the theatrical experience. It's not your money. It's not your hundreds of millions. You're not taking the risk. And even while I don't fully agree with this, once again, it's not my money either. We have a choice of whether we want to go to the movies or not. Not whether the movies are made, not where they go. Now, the overall fan base has already spoken, though. You're saying this is wrong and that that they shouldn't do this by design. The customer has told them this is the way they do it. The customer has flocked to PVOD. So they'd be dummies not to take advantage of that. Once again, I understand where all these people are coming from with this, but that opinion is not a factor when it comes to greenlighting movies and budgeting for movies and paying bills and, keeping these, paying back loans, paying back hundreds of millions of dollars, for these companies that put up the majority of the money. They want their money back. They want interest. Stockholders want dividends. They are not thinking about Fourth 1000's theater experience or what John, anybody thinks of, leaving money on the table. If they're not getting the highest percentage of that dollar, that doesn't mean shit to them. It just doesn't. They want it all, or as much as it's possible that they can get. All right, that's why there was a lot of people not going to theaters because when they bought their tickets and they were advertised time. Yeah, but once again, they're not thinking about that. They're thinking about how much money can we get from this ad buy. What other movies on the horizon are we looking forward to? I'm looking forward to Dune. I am looking forward to, what is upcoming? 2023. I almost forgot. Upcoming films 2023, 2024. We might as well talk about 2024 too, because hell, we're almost there. Let's see. Joker 2 is a little bit whiles it down. Let's see. Upcoming movies 2023. So what's left? So I'm on IMDb right now. Equalizer 3, by the way, I might go see this with the we're giving away some tickets for this. All right, so let's see. Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, not looking forward to that. Rebel Moon. Very much looking forward to Rebel Moon. Dune Part 2. Have no use for Wonka. We'll be seeing Blue Beetle on demand. Ferrari. I'm going to go see this. It's a Michael Mann movie. So Michael Mann has yet to disappoint me in all of his movies. I haven't liked some as much as others, but he's never disappointed me. So Ferrari, I'm going to go see that. Let's see. Chicken Run, no use for that. Exorcist Believer. I don't know. You know what? I'm always going to give the Exorcist franchise a chance, but damn, Barbie's already come out. I will not be seeing that. The Nun 2, maybe. I like The Nun 1, so I'm semi. I will be seeing this one because we'll be promoting it. Killers of the Flower Moon. I think is this already out yet? Members of the Usagi Crafter members, but I've heard about this, but I have not seen it, and I have not seen advertisement for it. So if that hasn't come out yet, this sounds like something, I'm a serial killer buff, so I had to make 2 trends. Fast X, didn't care. Insidious, The Red Door, don't care. The Insult, don't care. Dungeons and Dragons, this is stuff that's been released. So these are now we're all up to the movies that have been released already. So let's look at 2024 because 2024 is like literally 3 months away. February 2024. All right. All right. Let's see. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm not answering the question. All right. So Snow White. Joker 2. Yes. Deadpool 3. No. Beetlejuice 3. Beetlejuice 2. I wouldn't see that for free, and I'll probably have the opportunity to see it for free. Deadpool, never liked the character, never liked the movies. I know a lot of people love it, but I just never had any interest in the character. And for me, the first step to enjoying a comic book movie is, for the most part, I have to have interest in the character or the movies that launch the character. I just don't care about Deadpool. Ballerina, no. Borderlands, based on the game, no. Madam Web, yes. I actually think this is going to be a sleeper hit. I know a lot of people like to take shots at, Morbius, and even though if Warner Brothers had managed their budgets and their profits and their revenue streams as good as Morbius did, if you look at how what they didn't spend, because we didn't get anything for Morbius as far as advertising campaign goes, so we didn't even do a screening for that. So that movie actually, probably made them a little bit, not a blockbuster by any means, but I got a feeling with Madam Web, a lot of the silliness that they've done that didn't make any sense will come together, but that's just me. Wicked, absolutely not. Gladiator 2, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Alien Romulus, yes. Challengers follows 3 players who knew each other when they were teenagers, absolutely not. Lord of the Rings, nope. Captain America, Brave New World, yes. Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning 2, yes. The Fall Guy, absolutely not. That sounds like... if that's an adaptation of a TV series, oh my goodness. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, yes. Thunderbolts, no. Argyle, yes. Bad Boy 4, maybe. Furiosa, yes. Ghostbusters sequel, no. Bob Marley, One Love, no. It Ends With Us, oh geez. Oh, wait a minute. I thought this might be like a sequel to It. And then it says it Ends With Us. All I needed to see was romance. Next. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, no. Twisters, no. Ministry of Ungentlemanly War, where the British military recruits a small group of highly skilled. Sounds generic. Passion of the Christ, nope. Godzilla versus Godzilla, X Kong, The New Empire, yes. Untitled Venom sequel, yes. Mufasa, Lion King, no. Kung Fu Panda, no. Electric State, an orphan teenager traverses the American West, nope. Sounds like human interest. Transformers 1, an origin story set on Cybertron, home of both Autobots and the Decepticons. This film is set to focus on the relationship between Optimus Prime and... I don't quite know if I'm all on board with going back. But then again, they're trying to fix a lot of what the last 3 movies do. So, all right. Color me on the fence. A Quiet Place Day 1, yes. The Old Guard 2, didn't see The Old Guard 1. Imaginary Friends, comedy drama, nope. Garfield, nope. Mickey 17, let's see, Plot Under Wraps, nope. The Beekeeper, a man whose brutal campaign for vengeance takes the national stakes when he revealed to be a former operative. Okay, maybe. Let's see. Thundermans, nope. Scream 7, nah. Despicable Me, no. Wise Guys, no. Untitled Monster Thriller for Universal Pictures Project, okay. And a lot of these are still under wraps because a lot of them are still under development. But yeah, so there's a decent amount of stuff. Cool. Thanks, man. I love hearing the chime come through. Oh yeah, and the creator. I don't know how I skipped the creator. Realistically, how long before I believe Amazon said they were going to focus on theatrical releases, realized that it's not feasible for them, and just throws in their movies on VOD? It's going to be hard to say because they got a lot of money. So I don't see Amazon doing a lot of theatrical stuff because, once again, their business model is their online service, their streaming service, their what they provide to you, online and electronically. I don't know why it would make sense for both them and Netflix or anybody who wants to make the bulk of their money through their service to give you another place to go get it, even if they get a little bit of change from it. Once again, they get all your revenue on their streaming service. But once they start farming it out, that table starts to get bigger and a lot more people are starting to eat at it. Killers of the Flower Moon Walker looks good to me. You have fun with that. With the amount of money movie studios have to spend on movie advertising budget, it all depends. Hey, how you doing, Spider-Man? Some studios go all in. Some movies like Blue Beetle, they don't spend a lot on it. Movie Insider as a go for me. How long have I been on? 1 hour and 1 minute. Don't tell me it didn't give you the notification. I've been having a problem with that. Okay, so Killers of the Flower Moon has not come out yet. I've heard a lot about it. I might go see it. And it's Scorsese. How do I become a moderator on your chat? Do I have to send you a direct message on Twitter or email? The reason why I asked the question is about subscribe to your channel for 6 months. Okay, so I have no control of the moderators on Point Extra Lounge. I have control over moderators on mine, and generally I just have to choose you. But right now, I have a cap on moderators and stuff right now until I get to where I want to go as far as the changes I want to make, because I want to be very careful on how I do. Nothing against you, Anthony, but once I do that, I want to make sure, because I've been in situations where there's like a bunch and they kind of counter each other. Yeah, I'm a good portion of them will be delayed, but those are I read those off with the the pure reality of knowing that that's probably going to be the issue. I heard that Amazon Prime is considered by Amazon as a loss leader. They just need to stay the course. Well, Amazon Prime is not a loss. It's okay. The productions that they do are a loss leader, but it gets people onto their service. And when you're in Amazon's house, there's a whole bunch of stuff they can make money off you on. I use a lot of Amazon's products. I watch their stuff when I watch their movies. I order a lot. I even order some merchandise for the store off Amazon, because if I can get it at a cheap price, and with my Amazon Prime account, it's free shipping. So that cuts into my profit margin less. I'm a huge Amazon customer. So yeah, if you can get people, because in order to watch it, you got to go onto their site or got to go onto their little movie thing. So it's basically like when you go to Home Depot. Home Depot loses money on lumber. It's a loss leader, but it brings you into the store, and you just can't leave out of there with wood most of the time. What are you going to do? What are you going to use to put it together? You got to use nails, nuts, and bolts, and brackets and everything, right? How are you doing it if you don't have a drill? You got to buy a drill. So it brings you into the environment so that we can make the money off of you. That's what Amazon's loss leaders does. MLB, if you want something, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram. Okay. People hate the term elevated horror, but clearly there are horror movies done so well they exceed the Blumhouse and Conjuring movies, popcorn films like Exorcist, Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, because you really, be honest with you, now horror is one of my favorite genres, obviously, is because you can do horror a different ways. You can do horror by dictating the mentality. Like, once again, Exorcist 3, underrated movie. I keep bringing it up, over the last couple of weeks, not only because the original director just passed away, but even before that, I was talking about it. It's an underrated movie. There's not a lot of heavy effects in it, but the mentality of it, the intensity of it, makes it one of the best movies that came out in that era. And you can do that for cheap. When you make an Invisible Man, hey, that's minimal effects for the most part. You don't hardly ever see the guy. So a lot of horror, but you can't do this in a lot of like science fiction. You really can't do it for the most part. But in horror, you can get away and make a higher profit margin because you don't need a lot more than practical effects, if that. I'm the wrong guy to ask because I don't separate them. I just, whatever the quality is what I judge it by. But as far as high end movies, high thought, I don't know. I've never really thought about it that way. All right, guys. That's about it for me. We've been on about an hour and a half. Hour and 50 minutes. So cool. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. So thank you guys for joining me on this Sunday night stream. I will most likely see you guys either tomorrow or the next day. It depends on what the rain situation is. What kind of roof repairs I got to do after the night. But I am reaching the zenith or reaching the climax of my lease negotiation this week. So after that's settled one way or another, I'm going to be a lot looser and a lot more available. So, to where a lot of the stuff that I try to get done at night on my computer, I'm doing that throughout the day so I can stream more. So, all right, still waiting the return of Enosh. I know he's coming. I don't know exactly when. So, once he returns to the slot, that's going to change everything. I won't be doing as many as these because, depending on where he's at, I will still be doing, other stuff, and I'll be on both panels. But once he comes back, I will still be running my mouth. You'll just see it on a different channel and under a different schedule. So because, like I said, once he comes back, he's going to do his normal shows, normal panels, and everything else, and I'll fill in the gaps because I'll be on those panels hopefully. So, still waiting to return, and please like and subscribe to Point Action Lounge if you already have it. Most of you have, because that's how you get your notifications. But while you're at it, hook me up. Go to the Sci-Fi Center site, youtube.com/at the Sci-Fi Center. Like, subscribe, and share. You know, and if you have other people you want to bring into our semi-normal geek conversations, I would be more than happy to have them. All right, guys. I'll be going live a bit on my channel, talking about my favorite channels, including the Sci-Fi Center. Cool. Are you going live tonight? Or are you talking about in general? Hit me up on the DMs, man, if you do. All right, guys, that's it. Take care of each other. Be nice to each other. Try to carry on civil conversations with each other. And I will see you the next time around.